Okay, we should be live.
Ooh, are we?
We just
I'm a
have to.
pro. I have my webcam in a glass from an office supply store, like hanging over the lip.
That's beautiful. And
Okay.
we're live!
Oh
Woo!
my
Okay,
god. Okay.
so let me. Is this public? I think this is public. Okay,
I can see it, yeah.
excellent. So I'm going to add everyone impromptu
Mm-hmm.
stream
Mm-hmm.
BBAMA2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. Cosmos is here. Red is here.
Hi.
Hi.
I'll just pop out the chat so I can see
Yeah.
it.
How you doing, Rosalind?
Hi.
Paul is here.
Hello.
Solitas, what's up? Jacob, hi.
That's
So-
so good.
What's happening?
As Rosalind said, she's good.
Oh.
Hey, Emlyn.
What's up? So while people are gathering up,
Mm-hmm.
I want to tell you a story that happened today.
Okay.
Today was our Zoom Christmas party.
Mm-hmm.
And we planned activities, and I was in charge of the music activity. And somebody picked out songs to play to the team, and then members of the team had to guess which song it was, either by like singing along or naming the artist or the title.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Does this end with you singing WAP?
Why didn't I think of that?
Oh, sorry.
Ah, that was. I mean, I don't know how work appropriate that would have been, but I feel like at least my work wife would have guessed this one.
Okay.
Because basically it was songs from like, I don't know, 80s to 2000s, like 10 or so songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like play them because I have like a bigger screen and a better setup, so it's easier for me to like share screen and music over Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
Hi, Corvo. But what I did is I inserted songs into the list of my own. Do you know what they were?
Well, I would have guessed WAP, but apparently not.
No, I'm I am sophisticated. One of the songs that I inserted in the list was Country Roads,
Right.
Take Me Home.
Right.
Somebody actually guessed that one. Would have
Yeah.
known. Another song I inserted into the list was oh, I can't sing it. But it was Billie Holiday.
Right.
Nobody guessed that one, but they were like, "Oh my god, right!" And then,
Right.
but like, because people know who Billie Holiday is, right? But then the third song, like toward the end that I inserted, I was like, "This is a very popular song. Think 2008, everyone." And it was "I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire" from Fallout 3. Nobody had any idea what it was, and they were like, "Is this one of your game songs?" I'm like, "Yes." It was funny.
Why
it was
is
fun.
that? Is that because Fallout 3 is 2008?
Yeah,
Or...
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It was to throw
Yeah.
people off the scent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. The Zoom party was really cool. It was a lot of fun. And because my lab, like the place I work now, it's a really good like place. It's such a positive environment. And our boss, it's like she's a researcher that's just there's so many like, you know, like sticks in a wheel. Like if you
Wheel.
what?
Oh no, yeah, sticks in
Like
a
if you
wheel,
put a stick in a wheel, like ever since the project started, it's just like sticks in the wheel, and she has to like overcome everything and come up with like solution. And now, like especially with COVID, it literally killed our main project. And she had to come up with more solutions, more projects, more everything to make sure that we still have jobs, right? And it's just, I forget where I was going with this. I had some wine. How did this start?
Yeah. Well, you were telling a story to fill in time, but like
Something to do with the lab.
you were at the lab Christmas party. You were picking music.
Oh, I wanted to show. Okay. So basically, what happened is that we played some games, right? One was a scavenger game. One was a music game. And another one, I forget. I don't know. I had a little to drink. But what happened was that our boss actually came to each one of our house to deliver a little present. That was so sweet. Yeah, with little things like for the party too, and she gave us color changing hot chocolate.
Oh.
How cool is that? And then like
Good, yeah.
like a glow stick. It was a party. Woo. It was cool.
It's so
like,
cute, yeah.
There's other stuff here, like look at that. Look at that. And then there's like other stuff. Anyway, it was and she gave us a picture frame, and she's like, I want you guys to have like a positive moment in 2021 and like take a picture and frame it in this picture frame and think of me. Oh. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. All right, everybody's here? Yay.
Now it's a real party.
Do the intro, Richie.
I got up about half an hour ago to the message, you want to do AMA ? And I thought, yeah, why not?
Beautiful intro, thank you, Richie. Okay. So, let me... I have the AMA questions.
Okay.
What happened is that on Patreon we asked people to write down questions they have about Bloodborne. We answered some of them in part 1. And we're gonna answer some more today. And whatever we don't finish today, we're gonna do a part 3.
It still staggers me that there are unasked questions at this point.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay. So this question is by AD.
Okay. Oh, we did. I remember this one last time.
Oh, we did it? Oh.
This is about the moon as like an asset in the game. I'll just cover it anyway. When you see the moon in the sky in Bloodborne, that's not part of the skybox. It's actually just like it's massive. It's like a massive polygon that they just put really, really far in the distance. That's why like it has weird. Sometimes it's the question points out. This is from AD. The question points out that the moon actually reverses sometimes, like the side, like it'll flip horizontally the image, and they were wondering like why that happens as part of the skybox, blah blah blah. But that's because literally it is like one asset, and there's just some parts where it's it's just flipped. I think the UV was off or something, but yeah, it's that.
Richie, I'm sorry, but Rosalind points out that there's still many things about blood tendency that we don't know, though.
That's true. We're gonna have to farm some more bells later.
Thank you, Richie. Also for the party, I actually curled my hair.
Yep.
But can't really tell.
Because you're wearing your hacker hat.
No, also like the background, it doesn't show. Like I spent like freaking half an hour curling it, and it doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't. Also, like with time, it just became flatter. Doesn't look as good. I looked like a cute sheep. Yeah. Do you want to see a cute sheep? Okay. Oh no. Am I gonna drop my headphones? Let's see if the wire reaches. Come on. Okay. Look.
Oh.
Yeah. Its eyes are creepy though. I don't know. The rest is cute, but I don't know if I trust this sheep. Okay, go back to your corner. I don't want you to look at me with those creepy eyes. Thank you.
Okay. Oh, and they wonder if, like, is this something to do with the moon when Mikolash talks about, like, upside down? Like, there's cut dialogue where Mikolash talks about Rom being upside down. They're wondering if that's something to do with the moon because the moon is flipped. But, like, I actually think that is just a mistake. I'm pretty sure that, like... Now I'm starting to wonder, maybe that is deliberate. I don't know. Because I think the Rom upside down speech that dates from... Now I'm starting to think maybe it is, because if you've been, like, following this in depth, you'll know that there was this whole thing called Upside Down Bergenworth that was, like, something that we sort of found and, like, followed up on for a very long time. Which led us to kind of... We're not sure yet, we were going back and forth, but it looks like, as bizarre as this sounds, that rather than Moonside Lake, you actually had an entirely upside-down copy of Bergenworth, kind of like the second Castle and Symphony of the Night, and you'd go through it backwards. And part of that would involve, like, from what we can gather, you would have opened up the observatory dome that does nothing in the current game. And then somehow you would have gone up through the dome, and then that would have caused you to fall into the upside down observatory dome. It was some really weird thing like that. And yeah, so now I am wondering if maybe that is true, and that's why the moon's upside down. Oh, I actually know, because it's a reflection, isn't it? It's a reflection of the moon, because you're in the lake. Okay, thank you. I think we've hit on this. Thank you, AD.
Thank you.
But actually,
Richie.
yeah, no, we get it. Yeah, because if you look at the moon is reflected in the lake, so that's why the moon in the lake is upside down. I never noticed. Cool.
That was a beautiful monologue, Richie.
Thank you. Has Ebriatus' head been split open, or is it just how she looks? Sin, do you think Ebriatus' head was split open?
I think I first heard that theory from Redgrave, and I thought it was really cool. However, upon closer inspection of the little Celestials, I think their head is just like that.
Yeah, they go like this. So, yeah, I think that's just the head. Okay, so why do the big hunter emblems, the keepers around the church carry, cause frenzy? This should be fresh in your mind because you didn't realize they were there until like 3 months ago.
Okay, they cause frenzy because there's blood on them?
Yes!
Oh yeah. Boom.
All the frenzy sources in the game is to do with blood.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think that because those the hunter emblems, they're actually like they're crucifixes that like beasts were crucified on, like that.
Richie, sorry, whose blood?
Whoever was on them before.
Does it mean somebody walks around and they're filled with frenzied blood?
There's an item called Frenzied Cold Blood. You can collect a lot of it.
But is there somebody walking around and they're full of frenzied blood?
I think it's to do with different kinds of blood mixing or something, but like everything that causes frenzy, it's either something that is like biting you to do something to you physically, or it's that the Mensis brain or the Winter Lantern thing where it's like it's making your blood shoot out in geysers. So like people think frenzy is caused by like looking at stuff and going insane, but it's not. It's always something physical that like touches you. So I'm pretty sure it's just that those like big crucifix things, they like I guess like hunters or beasts or something were stuck on them, and over time it's just like this blood is frenzied and now it infects you when you touch it.
We will need a podcast on how blood becomes frenzied. Because
Do you want? Can I answer some questions in chat?
Okay.
That have shown. Okay. So Abel asked what the deal with the brain of Mensis is. So the brain of Mensis is like, this confused a lot of people because of the way it's described. It makes it sound like Mensis. A lot of people still think this that the school of Mensis like they somehow combined together into a giant brain. Like they're all like the one reborn.
Yeah, because of an item description.
Because of an industry, yeah. So, what all the Mensa's brain is when Mensa's went to that castle place in the nightmare, they were exploring it and they were like trying to figure out its secrets, and they dredged up the giant brain. It was like buried underground, and when it was dredged up, they frenzied and died, and that's why they had to lock it away. Like it's literally just like a thing they found. It wasn't. Yeah, it's a Red Grifter says like it's a malformed great one. Like it's basically like there. It's like if you found the ruins of Yharnam and you found Rom.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just like a thing. It's not quite what they're looking for, and it went horribly wrong and killed them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So there was another one that's like, what do you think of the blood vial system in comparison to Estus or Grass?
Well, Grass
Sim,
and blood vials
what do you
are
think?
basically very similar.
Yeah, you farm. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it better
Yeah.
than Estus, to be honest.
Well, yeah, because this is from Vaughn, and Vaughn's like, it's good because it incentivizes you to play aggressively, which I think is the idea behind it. Like, we talked about it a couple of times, but, like, the thing about Estus flasks is that because you have a set number of Estus charges per bonfire rest, it kind of encourages you to play conservatively, because you know you have, like, I can heal 10 times and that's it. So you don't want to waste it. Whereas in Bloodborne, because if you like read interviews with Miyazaki, they said, well, what we're trying to do is try to incentivize you to play aggressively. It's in Bloodborne, it's like, okay, I can waste blood vials healing, but then if I kill enemies, they might drop more ones. So it's like I'm getting more. I can keep going the more aggressively I play, rather than Souls, where I'm being sort of worn down. And you can see they kind of do the same thing in Dark Souls 3, because there's a system that I don't understand, but I'm sure someone's figured out, where you get Estus charges for killing enemies. I think it may even just be completely random or something, or it's like to do with if you kill a particularly strong enemy, you'll get an Estus charge back. So you can see them kind of bringing that back into it. And Sekiro does a similar thing with the spirit emblems, where you have a limited number of prosthetic uses, but then the more people you kill with them, the more emblems you'll get back. And I'm wondering, do you think Elden Ring will do that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, so there's a follow-up question about the Dark Souls 2 healing system.
What does Dark Souls 2 do? Is it Estus?
Dark Souls, it's Estus and the life gems.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Thoughts?
It's kind of slow. It's slow, right? It's like you stand there and you drink, and then...
The way it works is like the life gems are really plentiful, but they don't heal you quickly. It's almost like it gives you a regen. So if you pop a life gem, your health bar, instead of like healing, it goes like this. It goes...
Right. Yeah, I don't like the Dark Souls system of healing, to be honest. Like, which one is it? Is it in Demon Souls? Or, like, you stop, you drink your thing, and then, like, it doesn't... You know what I mean? It doesn't let you move.
That's Dark Souls, yeah. No, but the thing is,
Demon Souls.
Dark Souls 2 has that. You don't have a flask in Demon Souls. It has that. But then
you have... But it does it in Demon Souls. You have to... When you crush your grass or you eat it, you stop.
Oh, yeah. You have
that's what I mean. But in Dark Souls 2, I get it. Like, you crush it, but it takes its time. It's like, oh...
No, but the other thing about 2 is that if you chug an Estus, the Estus regen is like that. It's really fast.
Yeah, so but you have to stand there and drink it.
It creates this like interesting interplay where like you want to use life gems on the way to a boss, but then when you're actually in dangerous situation, then you use the Estus because it heals you faster, which is an interesting interplay. My issue with that is that
Richie doesn't let me complain. He just cuts me off and keeps
talking. Complain. What do you think?
No.
What do you think?
Go on.
Okay, my kind of problem with the life gems is just that the game has soul memory. So, because the memory tiers are quite low early on, I don't want to buy a lot of life gems because it means wasting souls on them.
Do you hear that? Do you hear that, Richie? This is what it feels like when I'm talking and you're doing your nails.
Okay.
I just wanted you to know.
You're provoking me now. So Sin, continue. Tell me.
What's up? What are we talking about?
Dark Souls healing system.
Yeah, it's not as good as Bloodborne.
You can do it, and I'll be as annoying
God.
as you think I am.
Bloodborne is really good because it heals you fast. You can have a whole bunch, and also
Really?
when enemies hit you, you
Uh-huh.
can hit them
Uh-huh.
back, and you
Uh-huh.
can get some health back, and
Uh-huh.
it's really cool.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sin. All right. What's the next question?
Okay, so the next question is by Connor.
Hello, Connor.
Are eyes on the inside just parasite eggs? Some insect/slug eggs are translucent and can look eye-like when they got a larva in them. If that's the case, could it be that it's the many bugs of this game are the real source of magic power?
What do you think, Sin?
I don't know. I'm still not sure about the whole eyes on the inside thing.
Uh-huh.
It's always been a... Because it's supposed to be a metaphor, right? But also, Willem was like, well, yeah, because it's like, oh, eyes on the inside, higher plane.
Yeah.
But then Willem's like, by the way, don't forget to check the skulls for eyes. And it's like...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and like the patience in the research hall is that they have eyes on the inside as well. That's what they're trying to create. Hey,
Yeah.
Zone.
Hi.
Yeah.
And like you're always bringing up like the guy that eats your insides.
Brain sucker.
Yeah, like
Brain
something is in their head, right? Or when you become lumenwood or whatever, there's stuff there. So it's like, or like the eye icon, there's like something in the eye. So it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you
Rosalind
think?
points out they collect eyes in Hamwick.
Yeah, and in the cut content, wasn't Willem like, give me eyes to eat or something?
Yeah. In there's like an earlier version of Willem where before you fight him, you have to bring him eyes.
And Garden of Eyes is literal eyes. So
Yeah.
I this is one of those things that I haven't made sense of in my head.
It's both. It's like on the borderline. Like it's because we talked a bit about phantasms, how they're not entirely like corporeal. Because it talks about like the black sky eye.
Yeah.
Because it mentions like this thing is like it's an eye, but the phantasms that appeared inside it are still like physical things. So it's like there's it looks almost like the phantasms are like a familiar or like something that happens when you're sufficiently in tune. The phantasms start sort of like actually it's like a symbiotic thing, isn't it? With like you sort of reach a point where your body can become a host to these slugs.
Yeah.
And I think like it's all this interconnected thing.
So
Yeah.
I think like, so on the one hand we have to figure out how to cook frenzied blood, but on the other hand we'll
How to
have
cook.
yeah, because you gotta cook it because you get blood and then it becomes frenzied. So I imagine there's a lot of like those science lab things, and then you gotta boil them, and then like a math lab, or something.
Is that how you get rid of vermin in blood? You make sure you boil it.
Yeah, that's how you get rid of vermin in water, right? Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that, but also maybe we can make a chart, a diagram of how the eyes, the phantasms, the water, the everything interacts. Gotta think about that.
I've been sent a number of diagrams and I'm just remembering them.
Thank you, Richie. Okay, so thank you for that question, Connor. Now, Vogue asked a question as well, and I'm gonna paste it in chat. There are 2 grand cathedrals in the Hunter's Nightmare.
Oh, yep, sorry. You pasted it without pressing enter, so they look like it's a continuation of the other
okay.
question. Okay.
Sorry.
There are... Okay, do you want to read it?
You can read it if you want. Maybe we can read it at the same time. Ready?
Okay.
There are 2...
We should count down.
It's true. Okay.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
1.
Reborn.
There are two
grand cathedrals in
Dante's Nightmare. And because it's a nightmare, we don't have to assume the architecture represents the waking world. So why would a snail woman literally fall out of the sky when the fishing hamlet is not literally above the nightmare?
I know did a trick. Oh, it's not over yet. Go
on. It's about how, like, why would a snail woman literally fall out of the sky when the hamlet is not literally above the nightmare? I know the dreamlands stack on top of each other, but we never see physical examples of that.
Richie, I was doing a trick, because when you were talking, I was just moving my lips. Amazing.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, well, since you were paying attention to me.
No.
I
was just randomly going.
Why don't you answer the question?
Okay. So there are two grand cathedrals, confirmed.
Yep.
We don't have to assume the architecture represents the waking world. Yeah.
I'm just reading the question again now.
Why would a snail woman literally fall out of the sky? We actually talked about that. And it's more like metaphorical because she falls out of the sky and you're like, where did she come from? And then you go to the next floor and you're like, oh, she came from here.
The next floor.
The next floor of the nightmare.
like you're in a lift.
Yeah.
6th floor fishing hamlet.
But yeah, super canonically, wasn't it the doll that threw her out of the Huntress nightmare?
I think according to you it was.
Yeah, that's why it's super canonically, because we came up with it.
Okay.
Wasn't she also looking for her contacts, though?
I think we need to divide up the work here, where I remember all the stuff that's in the game and you just remember all the things we've invented.
Okay.
And, yeah, so, like, the reason she falls is that, like, if you're in the hamlet and you look down, you just see the Hunter's Nightmare below you. So she just falls from there. Like, it's that. In the same way, like literally, where the snail woman falls from, it's that, sort of embankment that you take down to the hamlet. If you stand on the side of the embankment and look down, you just see the Hunter's Nightmare. So she just fell from there. And, like, the same thing's true of they're doing, it's like a little retroactive because, like, I think they come up with this later on. But, the point about the masts of the ships in the hamlet is that they're supposed to be the masts that you see from the Nightmare Frontier. Because in the Nightmare Frontier, you see all these ship masts in the distance, and you never see the ships, so you never find out, like, where they came from. So the idea is, like, it's setting up that, okay, like, when you're in the hamlet, the Hunter's Nightmare is physically below you, and the Nightmare Frontier is physically above you. And it's also sort of, like, setting up that connection between, okay, in, like, the Nightmare Frontier, there's these things that kind of look like cars, the crawling things. And, like, Nightmare Frontier is, like, okay, this is, like, bits of leftover lore, and so it's sort of seeding the idea that, okay, cars came from Lauren. And this whole thing is a cycle, and so next time this happens, someone's gonna find, presumably our hunter, as a great one in the, like, Hunter's Nightmare. They won't know what it is, they'll call it their Nightmare Frontier. It's going on. Okay,
sorry, we'll answer one... Did we finish answering this question?
I guess we did, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll answer one more question from Patron, and then we can answer some questions from the chat.
Okay, yeah, alright.
Sorry,
okay.
I am pasting it. Could you read this, like, it's a long question.
Okay, so this is from Karl Marx, friend of the podcast.
A patron, nonetheless.
Wow. I know. Got to listen to something while he's researching all those books. So, Carl asks, why is it called Yahar-Gul? To me, Yahar-Gul is very out of place in the game and very striking. It does have a surface similarity to Yharnam, but is wildly different in structure and especially for this Victorian-era racist British-esque fallen society. Is there any thought of this area existing before Mensis? Is it a wacky name Mensis gave their hideout? No one in Yharnam can see this giant temple. The name also so off from other language conventions in the game that it has more meaning than we know. Asking, is it a concept that was developed and then dropped from the late game in development? That do I know about that? And it talked like, does it have meaning with regard to Thumerian culture and cultural rituals? So, Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Sin was muted.
Am I muted?
Well, either that or very quiet. I can hear you now.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so Sin, what do you think of the name Yahar'gul?
It sounds like Sumerian, I guess. To me, kind of like it's, you know how Yharnam, Yahar'gul.
Yeah.
It's like I feel like they're similar.
Yeah.
What's the question?
The question is, what do you think of the name? Like, what significance do you think it has that it's a similar kind of sounding name, but it's also written in a very different way? Like Yharnam, Yahar'gul.
Yeah. I don't know what else to add. It sounds like Yharnam. It's cool. It fits the area.
So someone paid us money to answer this question, okay?
They should have asked about Party Village.
What will you do if Elden Ring has Party Village in it?
I will be so happy my head will explode.
Good. Okay, so do you have anything to add?
No, why is it called Yahar'gul? I don't know. I don't think Yahar'gul is a real word. Is it a real word? Like no, yeah. So I don't know the meaning of it, so I can't really tell you why it's called Yahar'gul.
Like how you have this tick where when you're nervous and the answer to the question, you start going, I don't know why it's called Yahar'gul.
I mean, it sounds like, why is Yharnam called Yharnam? I don't know. It sounds cool. It's an ancient Thumerian word, and they're using Thumerian words to name their villages. Yep.
Yeah, I think, because if you look at, like, the way that Yharnam's put together, there's, like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, girl.
It's from Rosalind. So,
it's from Rosalind? Damn.
Yes.
Rosalind's the best.
Yahar'gul, there's, like, you also have, like, Erden Chapel above Yahar'gul, because it's like they're naming places after Old Thumerian words.
Yeah.
So, like, this is like a two-part question. So, like, it is like clearly it's meant to be, I think, a Thumerian word like Yahar'gul, but the question here is like, okay, it's written in a way that's different. It's written in a way that's very like guttural.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, I think the idea is that if you go to Old Yharnam and you go to because Yahar'gul is basically part of Old Yharnam. Like, it's the way that I think of it is like Yahar'gul is kind of to Old Yharnam what Cathedral Ward is to Central Yharnam. Like, it's this like closed off area, and the centerpiece of it is this big church.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it's like it's raised slightly above it, like Cathedral Ward is. And the reason they're not technically connected in the game is that, like, it's been bricked off. Like, the end of Yahar'gul, the big street area, that would have continued. That initially connected to the rest of... presumably connected to Old Yharnam. The difference is that, like, it's been bricked up, and if you actually look at the wall that's at the end of that street at the dead end, it's a completely different brick texture. It's deliberately a lot more rough looking, because the idea is that maybe when Mensis moved in, or before that or something, they just bricked it off. And that's why they call it, like, the unseen village, because it's like you can't... This is like a hidden place, you can't go there. So, that's what I mean about, like, Yahar'gul is kind of like the old Yharnam version of Cathedral Ward. It's like a connected area that's sort of more sacred. Because you can see the whole structure of Yahar'gul is just a big, windy street that leads to that big cathedral, not cathedral, big, like, church thing where we find Mikolash and the Mensis people. So, the reason I think it's called Yahar'gul, and it's in this very guttural way of writing, is because Old Yharnam is literally old. It's a remnant of an older, less sort of polished Yharnam history to it. Like if you look at the actual building style of Old Yharnam, the buildings are less refined. If you look at the gargoyles, they look more like it's the same sort of basic design that looks like a messenger, but they look a lot rougher. They're more exaggerated. They have a lot of like beast traits. Like there'll be gargoyles there with like huge beaks and like giant mouths and things. Like the whole area is like a lot more sort of old and warped and strange. And like it has like the altars and everything, and then when you go to Yahar'gul, like Yahar'gul is just absolutely full of those huge like amygdala statues and like the statues of the slugs and everything. So the idea is like this is old. Yeah, Hoeth points out like the pig statues as well. So
okay, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so the point is like Yahar'gul is like the older, rougher, stranger version of Yharnam. Because literally it is older, because Yharnam's built in layers. So you go down a bit, you're going into the old part of Yharnam, it's rougher, it's stranger. So it has this more gutter, like Yahar'gul. And I think that the reason they went with like, Yahar'gul is that like Ghoul, Ghul, that's how Lovecraft writes ghoul. As in like a cannibal, like he's kind of fixated on people like giving into their sort of bestial instincts and losing their humanity, and part of the way he articulates that is like people who become ghouls, like someone who like lives off the dead and stuff. Yeah. Hey, Bean's here.
Hi, Bean. But Richie,
Hey.
Yahar'gul wasn't always an old city when it was built. It was a new city. So why would they give a new city an old name?
Because the name was also not an old name at the time; it was a new name.
So they were trying to pick out the most modern name they could think of for their modern city.
Yahar'gul is like
maybe it was the height of but like if they came up with the name Yahar'gul 200 years ago and they built Yahar'gul 200 years ago, this was the new city and this cool new name, so it was actually the like coolest, hippest city and name in town. Think about it.
Yeah.
So
it's an old name because it was named an old time.
So we think it's old, but when they named it at the time, it was really cool.
That's true of everywhere.
Yeah, you see, but do you see? This is why it's hard for me to answer these questions, because that's how I look at them. So to me, to answer this question, I have to be in the city when it was built, and then I have to talk to the people who named the city and be like, hey, namer 1, 2, and 3, as well as, I don't know, architect, why did you name the city Yahar'gul? And they can be like, well, there's this new pop song that just came out, and it's really cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Can we start answering chat questions now?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, someone, I'm sorry, I forgot your name because someone asked a bunch of times, about, I'm not trying to ignore you, I'm just focusing on so many things at once, that, about the issue of the hunt, and like where can you read more about the issue of the hunt? Because they were interested, like when I discussed it, and they couldn't find any other information on it. So Sin, where can people find out more about the issue of the hunt?
Richie, what does the issue of the hunt mean in English?
There's a whole video on it. I'm not repeating it. It'll go for 3 hours.
It will what?
So okay, so the thing about issue of the hunt is,
but
like,
what does it mean in English? What are you talking about?
It's very hard to explain in English because it's like we'll just say the will to hunt, the drive to hunt, the destiny to hunt. Yeah. Okay. So
is it the dying will?
No. Well, that's the issue of the blood.
Is it the dying will bullet?
Fuck you. So the
I was
reason
just,
you
that's what I was trying to get. I was just trying to get you to say will so I can be like, reborn. And you were like, it's hard to explain. Let me take this seriously. Okay, anyway, thank you, Richie. Go on.
okay,
You're
so
very smart and very good at this, and I appreciate you very much.
Should we point out to anyone who's joined us recently that you've just come from a Christmas party? You may be a little tipsy.
White wine?
Not a Japanese slipper.
Okay, like, you guys, okay, for those who don't know, we're on lockdown. There's gonna be a curfew starting this weekend. And like, I'm just ordering everything, and I'm just ordering all my groceries because I'm too scared to go outside. And I don't know if you can order from the alcohol store. So I was like, I called my sister and I was like, do you guys have white wine? Because I don't like red wine, and I know they don't have Japanese slippers. And she was like, I got you, fam. And I'm like, thank you. My sister is so sweet. She's been bringing me food.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Because she's kind of bored, and she's like starting cooking. And she's really good at it. She's much better than me. And she also does nails. We should have her on. She should do our nails. You saw the pictures. They're really good. They're like this long.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah, she did yours. You had Carol runes on them.
Yes. I apologize for interrupting you. Please go on.
Okay. So, where were we again?
The Dying Will Bullet.
Okay, right. So the reason you can't, like, read about the Ishii of the Hunt is that, like, it's a thing that's just in Bloodborne. That's why you can't find out more about it. Because it's like, you can, look up, like, connotations of the word Ishii. That's sort of what it has, though. Like, yeah, you can't really read more about it because it just exists in Bloodborne, so you're not going to find any information about it that's not Bloodborne. That's the problem. That's why it took me so long to get there. In order to get to that place, like, I ran it past actually two different people. I ran it past a guy who is a freelance translator. And he gave me a big thing about, like, Ishii means these things. But he's not a native Japanese speaker. He just does translation work. He's in America. And then I ran it past Mai, who is Japanese. She grew up there. And she's the one who was like, yeah, it's... The connotation is, like, the way she explained it is, like, the blood Ishii is sort of like... It's like if you were window shopping and you saw some blood... And you thought, ooh, that looks nice. But then you went, nah.
Aww.
Maybe next time. Yeah, so that's why it's not quite as strong as calling it bloodlust. It's more just like you're sort of like you're getting a taste for this thing, but it's not there yet.
Sorry, the thing made a noise, so somebody just did something. But I don't see the animation, so whatever you did, thank you. Might have been like a sub or a... I should really fix that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Richie. Here's your medal. It's for you, but I'll eat it in your honor.
You're taking a bullet for the team by just eating food constantly.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so Haworthiak, I'm sorry, I never know how to say your name.
It's Hey.
What?
It's Hey. That's their name. Or nickname.
Hey?
Hey.
Hey. So, Hey asks, why is the orphan alive in the dream but Cos is a corpse? They both died and then waking up at the same time. Is it actually Cos or a figment? Sin, what do you think?
Well, it's because the Cos is the child of Gurman.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Or what did I... I didn't say that right. You know what I meant.
I know what you meant, but like some people, the way that you're like, I didn't. That came out wrong. But people do mean it to come out that way.
Okay. Orphan is alive in the dream, but Cos is a corpse.
But they both died at the same time.
But that's in the dream. Like the nightmare is like the orphans. Like the rage of Cos, but it's the orphan that's trapped in there. Like their rage is trapped there. Yeah. But I think Kaz, after they killed Kaz, I have a feeling she kind of died in a way that Great Ones died. Like, I think her spirit just moved on, but her rage helped the orphan maybe create this nightmare thing. I feel like Kaz is like above that trauma, you know?
Kaz is above the drama.
Yeah.
The whole game is Kaz's drama.
No. If you think about it, Mikolash is like, Kaz, and she's like, no, leave me alone.
Yeah, we talked about that. Mikolash is her reply guy. Yeah.
Yes, she ignores him. And then Willem's people literally kill her. And she's like, you know what? No, I'm out of here. Like, she doesn't show up. She doesn't haunt them. There are no Kaz ghosts in Bergenworth. She's just above it. She's over it.
The other day I found this, like, terrible meme that's a picture of the Joker with "I'm silent because I hate drama" written under it. I can't think of a less accurate characterization of the Joker as someone who hates drama.
That's beautiful.
Okay, so the thing about, like, Kaz and the orphan and everything is, like, the way you actually dispel the ghost of the orphan is the snaky black thing coming out of Kaz's body.
The ghost.
It's like, in a sense, yeah, that's really the orphan. And if you look at the, like, it's hard to tell because it applies this, like, smoky texture to it, so you can't really make out its features. But it looks like a developing fetus. Like, you know, when human fetuses start developing, they're just like a head and a spine that's curled up. They kind of look like a tadpole. It looks like that. And what you're killing is, like, if you, like, uncurled it, it would just look like a very long, thin person. So that's what the orphan is. It's that. And the big, like, monstrous old man with the placenta side. That's, like, a manifestation of the orphan's, like, rage and anger and, like, the torment and everything. But that's not literally the orphan. The actual literal orphan is the long snaky thing.
Yeah, and you've pointed this out, or go.
I think we've pointed everything out at this point, but we make like 300 videos a day.
What was I gonna say? So you
no one can be blamed.
You pointed this out before, but you know, well, a lot of people pointed this out, but like, and a lot of people noticed because a lot of people have eyes. The orphan that you fight looks a lot like Gurman, like physically as well as his weapon, and you and other people are saying that it's because, like, you know, Gurman may have killed the orphan, and maybe this is like the last thing, the orphan's soul, or the rage associated with Gurman. That's why he looks like Gurman.
Yeah, I do think it's like people compare like the orphan and Gurman, and there was that whole theory that like Gurman is the orphan in his sleep. Because when the orphan appears, you hear the crying.
I didn't hear that one.
I hear it all the time.
I heard the one that I didn't say right is that Gurman and Kaz are the parents of the orphan. That's what
I've heard that one as well.
Yeah.
I've seen art of that one. But the thing about, like, when you meet the orphan, you hear like the crying of Gurman. Like, it's the same sample as when he's crying in the dream. And then the orphan fades into view, and the orphan is like, it's kind of like, it's like a tall, thin old man, and the placenta thing is like, has a scythe on it, like the burial blade.
Yeah.
So I think it's deliberate that, like, it kind of mirrors Gurman, because in a sense it exists to torment Gurman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think it's deliberate that they look very similar, but I don't think it literally is Gurman.
Oh my god! Okay, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Do we see the orphan and Gurman in the same room at the same time?
No.
Think about that.
Can't prove it didn't happen. So someone in the chat, Abel has a question about the One Reborn, so I'm going to dig up the DM I got a while ago. about this. It might take a while to find. Okay, here we go. So I'm just gonna have to read this. Someone called Jerdon wrote to me about the One Reborn, and it's someone who is a grad student who specializes in linguistic anthropology. So we can this is quite well reason. It's quite long. I'm trying to find the relevant part to it. It's very in depth. So basically,
Lol, Bean, great minds.
I don't know what Bean's written. Hang on.
No, she said the same thing I said. Like, do you see them in the same room at the same time?
Oh, hang on, giant cat. What if you can see him?
There's a cat in your room right now?
It's over there. He just popped in.
Oh, so cute.
You see movement in the background, that's a very large feral cat that visits me sometimes. Hang on. So go back to the question. It's to do with one of the kanji that was used. Okay, so I'll just read Jordan's thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is a relevant paragraph. I found myself on the Textra Bloodborne wiki, page for the One Reborn, which noted that the kanji is Saitansha. This may seem shocking This may not seem shocking, but I was fooled. The translations most likely confuse the present kanji, which is sai, for the more common kanji sei, which implies a kind of reincarnation / metamorphosis. The aforementioned Saitansha would need to be spelled Saitansha to mean the One Reborn. As is a more accurate translation I have devised comes out to a somewhat hard to translate word sha, which can be translated as both the English suffixes ist and to indicate this is the one who does the former. So the res has a peculiar meaning, which is... So Saitan means resurrection of a company, school, etc. So if we take this to mean Saitansha is a literal resurrection of the school of Mensis, it would have to be in terms of... we'll just say he basically says that the One Reborn is more accurately like that which has revived or that which has been restored. And it kind of implies some sort of he says it's almost like a bodhisattva. It's like a reincarnation of something, but it's more like a reincarnation rather than a reborn, because a lot of people see reborn and they're linking it to the orphan or to whatever. So yeah, I'm sorry that I did a bad job at reading that.
It's okay, I'll cut it out. And go.
Thanks, Sin. Let me just check. So, the thing about the One Reborn also is that, its internal name is Half-Baked Devil.
Half-Baked Devil?
Half-Baked Devil.
That's so
I get
cool.
the impression it's meant to be, something that's not quite finished yet.
I love that nickname!
Yeah.
You Half-Baked Devil, you!
So I think the idea behind, people think the One Reborn is, an attempt to resurrect the orphan thing. Mm-hmm. But, I think it's, it's not, because they actually don't want the orphan resurrect. They have Murgo already. They're not trying to resurrect the orphan.
But wait a minute, Richie. Lore-wise...
Yeah. Lore-wise.
What if they resurrect the orphan, then maybe the spirit of Kaz is likely to show up, because orphan is, literally her baby.
But they're already, beckoning Kaz in the nightmare.
Yeah, but if it's two birds, one stone.
Yeah.
You resurrect one in the nightmare and one in the real world, because you don't know where Kaz will show up.
Maybe.
Just made it up. I just made it up.
Yeah. But the other thing about the One Reborn is, like, it's created by, like, the Thumerians after the Mensis ritual happened. Like, it's not... Mensis weren't trying to make that thing. Like, it's what's created in the aftermath of everything going horrible.
Yeah.
Like, that's why, like, it's summoned by the Bell Maidens, and they're like, dong, 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 to call down the thing from the sky. But, like, prior to that, there weren't, like... Yeah. Because what happens with Mensis is it's literally just them. There's a kitty just left. Deepin says, like, the Bell Maidens are opportunists. Like, basically what happens is, Mensis are just by themselves working with the Snatchers and some, like, eye collectors and stuff to collect all the body parts for their big ritual. They're trying to call down the moon. The moon won't show up because Rom is there. Rom dies, ritual completes, moon comes down, destroys Yahar'gul, and creates this, like rift between, like it's like the worlds sort of, like, collide, everything goes crazy, there's blood everywhere, the people fuse into the walls. Thank you, Brett. Brett's commenting on my cat. So, like, all, like, the world, that's there was another question in there about the people in the walls in Yahar'gul. They're all people who were trying to escape from the Advent Plaza. So it's like, what happened was, when the Red Moon came down, like, it says the boundary of, like, the world is becoming permeable. The boundaries are all blurring, like, the waking world and the dreamland sort of, like, for a second, they are fusing together. So everyone is trying to get out of Advent Plaza, and they get stuck in the wall, and then it, like, freezes again. So that's why they're there. And the Bell Maidens and everything are just, like... Because, like, in, the way we summon a Bell Maiden is you use the bell, and the maiden, like, responds to the bell chime. So you have to think of the Mensis ritual as, like, the biggest fucking bell you've ever heard. Just rings out. And it starts... They're trying to call down, like, the moon, they're calling down, like, the amygdala and everything, and it just goes... So by the time you get to Yahar'gul, everyone's dead. And they're, like, the piles of, like, you can see the Snatchers have died, and they're all near those, like, body part werewolf things, because those things have come out, and they've, like... That's the bodies from the Snatchers' bags that have, like, just come to life and killed them. Everything is, like, all these dead things going back to life. All these, like... It's these, like, the Bell Maidens are, like, coming through, and it's, like, procession, they're all ringing. And, like, that's all, like, that's the aftermath. That's not what Mensis were actually doing. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Richie.
Yeah.
We still have a question on Patreon.
Okay.
This one is by Harry Potter.
Oh, Harry Potter and Karl Marx together at last.
And
oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
This is a content question. It's not like this is like a development question. So, if Cos was originally the name of Ebriatus, then what story role was the Orphan of Cos supposed to play? Would he have been roughly the same thing with the same concept and backstory, just with a different name? I don't think the discussion of data mining has ever found the Orphan or Mother Cos in base game data. So, as far as... Ooh, money. Hello, thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. So... the base data, from what we can see... This is the frustrating part. Because we have a map of the game, but that map doesn't include Nightmare of Mentis or Nightmare Frontier. This is like an old development map, because they're not part of, like, the big yarn. They're not a connected area. So we don't know exactly what was supposed to go down in those areas, because we don't have the development map for them. We might at some point.
Sorry, Richie.
So.
Wait.
Yo,
Yes.
what are those glowing yellow craters in Yahar'gul?
Okay. Will's question was read out loud. We can do it after. Yeah.
Fine. Okay. So, the Orphan of Cos, like... Okay, I don't know, but there's a bunch of weird shit, and I'll reveal something. I'll reveal it now. This is like super like I have seen things you've never seen before. Like, oh, um,
Oh.
so in the old version of Yahagul, because if you like, this is obviously a question for someone who's really into the cut content stuff. So you would know that the old plot of the game involved Mikolash. Mikolash would not have been in Yahagul. He would have been in Hemwick. You would have chased him to Hemwick. He would have got to the nightmare by jumping into the lake behind Hemwick, in the similar way that we get to Rom. So the question is then, like, okay, so what was in Yahagul? Because, like, well, what was the point of this place? Because in the current game, Yahagul is connected to the nightmare, but in this point, it wasn't. So it's like, what was there? What was in that room with all of the Mensis corpses if it wasn't Mikolash? The answer is, and no one has ever seen this, and, like, we can't really show it yet because there's, like, some problems involved. But one day it will come out. I promise one day I will be able to show you. What was in that room was a statue of... It is not an asset that's still in the game. It's a statue of Ebriatus, who at that point was Kos. So it's a statue of Kos, and she is cradling, like this. She is cradling a spider that looks like Rom. So it... Like, I don't know if that is supposed to be, like, the spider is Koz's kid, or like, it's meant to be Koz embracing Rom, because that's how Rom transformed, was, like, via Koz, because Mikolash is like, oh, Koz as he wants to for the vacuous Rom. But, like, from what we can tell, Rom was always meant to be, like, a Bergenworth thing. It wasn't meant to be, like, Rom is the orphan. Like, Rom was... As far as we can tell from the beginning, Rom was always, like, a spider under Bergenworth that, like, was a person that ascended. And, like, in this version, like, I think Rom starts off dead in this version. Like, it's the corpse you find in the altar, and then you touch the corpse, and that warps you to a dream where you fight Rom. But, yeah, there's a lot of stuff with Kos. As far as I can tell, the Orphan, like, as a boss, was not at any point, like, in the actual early versions. That was just a DLC edition. But the thing about the DLC is that they knew they were getting a DLC. Like, there's internal developer notes that basically say, like, well, this will be a DLC entrance later on. Because they hadn't quite nutted out how it would work yet. But, like, if you play, like, 1.0, like, the DLC was 1.07. If you play 1.00, which is, like, it's like 8 months before the DLC came out, like, that's like the earliest release version. There's notes about the DLC in it. There's, like, spawn points for the Eye of the Blood Drunk Hunter and everything, because they knew it was coming. So, and I also think that's why they're so cagey about the doll in the base game, because they kind of knew that we have a chance to kind of explain the doll. So I think they, like, removed a bunch of the doll stuff on the basis that they could sort of add it later on. So yeah, like, the Orphan, as far as we can tell, like, that was just a DLC invention. And the final boss was always intended to be, like, Kos, who would have been called down by Murgo in the
Lunaria?
The pram, yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
But right now it's the wet nurse that gets called down.
Yeah, because the wet nurse is, like, something looks after Murgo.
Because
I think,
been, yeah.
My take on what happened is that when they realized they were getting a DLC, they're like, well, maybe we don't want to, like, blow Kos on the base game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm projecting here, but
No.
The impression I got is, like, they knew they were doing the DLC. They knew they wanted the DLC to wrap up the Kos story. So they didn't maybe want to shove Kos in the base game, like, explicitly.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think that's why they made her into something that's unrelated.
Like, you know, on the one hand, like, making Kos, like, descend on Murgo would make a lot of sense. But on the other hand, I like that it's in the DLC. Like, it was more of a shock that, like, Nikolaj wasn't crazy after all.
Well, let's not go that far.
Yeah.
Bye, Emily.
Wait, what?
I'm just saying bye to
Oh,
Bean.
bye.
Oh, hey, Bedsheet.
So Harry Potter has another question,
Uh-huh.
and I will post it in Discord.
Okay. I love Richie's idea of Bloodborne in space as a sequel. Thank you. It will be Demon Souls 3, Bloodborne 2, The Space Memories. Okay. Sin, do you have any ideas for new great ones or story ideas for Bloodborne 2? Bloodborne in space?
Ebriatus, Nostradamus the Vampire. We already have a list.
I wasn't informed that they would be in the sequel.
Sorry, I had to find out this way. And one last question from Harry Potter.
Yeah, but do you have more of an answer to that?
Oh, I'm not that imaginative. I don't.
Well, see, my problem with doing a Bloodborne sequel
Yeah.
is that Bloodborne literally covers everything from the dawn of humanity through to the creation of a new universe. So I don't think there's much you can add to it. Like, I remember talking with Redgrave about it, and we were like, there should never be a sequel to this, but like, doing spin-off games would be neat. Like, we talked. This is ages ago. We talked about how, like, wouldn't it be neat if, like, Platinum Games made a spin-off that's just, like, Eileen?
Yeah.
That's, like 20 years before the game is set, and you're, like, Eileen, and it plays, like, Metal Gear Rising or something.
Yes.
And she's, like, yeah, you have these, like, dueling the Bloody Crow and Kanehurst and stuff.
Yes.
That would be cool.
Stuff like that would be super cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they're gonna make a Bloodborne movie? I think at some point they might.
Do you think it'll be like they'll get a like a Netflix animated series or something, but From won't have anything to do with it?
Oh, I hope not.
Thank you, Sam.
Anytime. I mean, I don't know. I hope there is a Bloodborne 2 because I really liked. Like, I hope there is a Bloodborne 2, but it's like exactly like Bloodborne 1. Because I really liked Bloodborne 1. So I wouldn't mind.
Want that at all.
But I wouldn't mind playing the exact game in a slightly different setting. Maybe Yarnum's, like, sister town or whatever is having trouble and you play there.
But see, this is the thing about, like, Bloodborne as the Demon Souls successor.
Mm-hmm.
Is that... Because clearly, like, at that point, Miyazaki was like, we don't need to do Demon Souls again. We did it already. So, Bloodborne, like, even though it's the successor to it, it is, like, really fast, the setting is different, healing system is different, plot is kind of different.
Sorry, Roslyn just said Bloodborne 2, but it takes place 12 hours earlier. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah. So, like, that's the thing is, like, you can tell that they, even though they've been accused of making the same game 5 times in a row, there's a sense of, like, they are trying to, they don't really want to repeat themselves that much.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think if they did a Bloodborne 2, they would probably, like, have something very different, because you consider the gulf between, like, Demon Souls and Bloodborne. Okay. Then, like, Bloodborne 2 would be like a fucking... You know what they should do? It's what they should do, alright? They should make a new mecha game, because it has been 8 years... 8 years! 8 years! Since, if I were on, like, Apted 7 Up, and you interviewed me, and I'd be like, I'm looking for the new Armored Core, and then you come back for the next one, I'm still not out yet. So, they should make a mecha game, like Armored Core, and it should be revealed that it's set in far future Yharnam.
Okay.
There, that's what Bloodborne 2 should be. It's
okay,
Armored Core.
Done.
Armored Core for Bloodborne.
Good. I agree.
There.
And one last question from Harry Potter. I pasted it to you. It's in your
I'm not
chat.
sure if either of you have read the Arbhorsen series by Garth Nix. No.
No.
But the central premise revolves around using 7 bells to perform necromancy. This series is on my mind as I experienced Bloodborne. I'm just curious about the association between bells and death and other magic in the Souls games. So, Sin,
Yes.
what do you think about bells?
I wish I had a bell so that when I ring it, my boyfriend brings me food.
But you don't need a bell because you just go, boyfriend! Your house is quite small so he can hear you.
It's true.
You were telling me the other day that your dream is like a smart fridge, but just responds to you going, to send you things.
Yeah.
Like a step up from the Google thing where you're like, Google dim the lights. You want one that just, it's like a dog that understands tone but not content. And you hear you going, and realize you're hungry.
Thank you, Richie. I
So-
don't know. I'm not a professor of bellology. I don't know anything about bells.
Psychology.
Yeah.
So in bells are like a religious thing in Japan. Like ringing bells is just like, it's like sending, like you can ring a bell to send a prayer. There's like a lot of like Japanese folk tales that revolve around like a bell, like a sacred bell or something. It's like sacred bells are just a thing, and that's what they're doing in in Souls and in Bloodborne. The notion of like the bell.
Thank you, Richie.
Bells in Japanese culture. In Shinto, bells have long been used at shrines and in ritual dances to get the attention of gods and bring them down among the people for protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Richie.
Brett is asking who is the best girl in Bloodborne.
Cause.
Cause.
What do you think?
I'd say Cause, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Annalise.
Yeah. I feel like they'd hang out.
Yeah. Just like meeting, it's like, oh, that healing shirt stole your baby too. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Got a lot of suggestions. We've got Amelia, Adela, Yuri, the pig who eats the child, the right keeper, Maria.
Wrong.
Actually, one of my friends refers to Amelia as the lesbian detector.
The what?
The lesbian detector.
Why?
Because apparently all the entire lesbian Bloodborne fandom loves Amelia.
Aww.
Anyway. Yep, Eileen, old woman, the bloodlickers.
I mean,
Okay, Leon, do you want to like? There's a question about boss musical chairs. Do you want to like?
well, I was about to say, I think we answered all the patron questions, if I didn't miss
did we?
any.
Okay.
So we can
That's good.
answer random chat questions. Yay!
Okay, so yeah, so like maybe for the next like 10 minutes because it's like almost 3 p.m. here.
Mhm.
I gotta go. Do
Yes.
stuff. Okay, so a question about boss musical, final boss musical chairs.
Mhm.
So all right, so this goes back way like all of the notes are like mangled, so I don't actually know exactly if this is the correct order, but like it starts off the Ebriatus boss in the game right now was initially Cos, and she would have appeared in presumably in Mensis as the final boss. That's why Mikolash is calling to her. But also, at the same time, the area where you fight the wet nurse now, that looks like it was added really, really late. That, like, the Lunarium area, the big round thing. Because, like, and by late, I mean, like, if you look at the Nightmare of Mantis from a distance, it's not there, because they didn't update the distance.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if maybe you would have gone from Mensis to somewhere else to meet her, or something like that. But yeah, she was... Ebriatus was Cause, and that was the final boss. Final boss of the base game. Then there's, like, the Moon Presence also was, like, supposed to be a, she was always, I think, supposed to be, like, the hidden boss, from what I can tell, because all this stuff about, like, they call her Flora, and they're like, yes, if you do these things, Flora will descend. Gurman is kind of a weirdo, because, in many ways, Gurman's a weirdo. But, like, in the old versions, the man in the wheelchair is in it. He's not called Gurman. He's called the Craftsman. And he is the guy who made the doll explicitly. And it doesn't... I want to be clear, it doesn't say he's the first hunter. It doesn't say he's a hunter, but... the idea of a retired warrior who is Maine becoming a craftsman is also the backstory of the sculptor in Sekiro.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that the craftsman, like, the reveal would be that he was the first hunter and he'd, like, retired and become a craftsman, like, because he didn't want to become blood drunk in the same way that the sculptor is doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's still a possibility. They were the same guy, kind of, but it's also never... When you meet him, he wouldn't have been like, I'm Gurman, the first hunter. It would have been like, this is the craftsman. And, like, his set is called the craftsman's set. And there is a version where, like, we've talked about the Gurman boss not really matching. And there is a version that's, like, recent-ish, where the Gurman boss is a mess. He doesn't work. He's, like, Frankenstein together from random assets. He looks like shit, and he's broken. So, like, they will... What I mean is, like, the Gurman boss fight, they were trying to work on that. Like, that was really late in the day that Gurman was there as the final boss. And the arena that he's in, I think, was also added real late. So, exactly like the confrontation you would have with Gurman is kind of up in the air. It wasn't necessarily what we got. And that's, I think, and, like, the 3 chords weren't in it either. It's, like, all over the place.
You know, what is that sentence that Gurman says when you fight him? He's like, it's always up to the helper to clean up this mess.
Hunters up to the messes, yeah.
Like, I wasn't... But does he says it's up to the hunter-helper to clean up the mess?
Yeah,
or?
it's always up to the hunter's helper to clean
Yeah.
up after these sorts of messes.
I always thought it was a little weird that he says that, because when he did say it to me, like, the first time, I'm like, dude, you're literally the first hunter. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but if that would have been set up, like, after they decided on him as the boss. Yeah.
It's still weird.
He's a very odd man. Oh yeah, Merodach points out Gurman doesn't say he's the first hunter, but, like, he does say, like, oh, the doll says he was a hunter long ago.
I think, doesn't the bar say first hunter?
No, but I mean, when you meet him as an
No.
NPC, and he says, like, I think he says, like, I'm too old and now I was once a hunter and now I oversee things. But, like, the craftsman, it looks like it was just, like, the craftsman is I have no idea what, because yeah, it's like I said, like, the craftsman is not identified as being a hunter, but also, like, the next game they did is about a guy who, like, a warrior who loses his arm and becomes a craftsman. This is maybe a warrior who lost his leg and became a craftsman. Yeah.
Richie?
Yes, Sam.
So it's time to wrap up, but before we go, if people like our content, but think it's too good, and would like to pay us for worse
I
content...
don't think they think it now. I think these are not scripted at all. These are not organized. I didn't even remember we were doing this. I just
We were
woke up
supposed
and
to
you're
do it Monday, but you forgot.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, Sinclair Law, 12:59 p.m. Hey, you want to stream AMA or
Oh
whatever?
my god!
Okay, that's how much preparation I had.
Sunday, or even Saturday or Sunday, I was like, may have even been Friday. I was like, hey, do you want to stream AMA 2 Monday evening, my evening? And you said, okay.
Yeah.
And then you finished editing Bloodborne up close, and you're like, oh my god, editing one thing is too much for me. I'm gonna take a 48-hour nap. And I'm like, well, I guess we're not streaming Monday. And that's why I asked you now. Because I already told people that we're going to be streaming Monday. And then I had to be like, oh, we're actually not streaming. Thank you. That's the story. But as I was saying, if people like our content and would like to hear worse content, would like to support us, would like to see unedited Reborn episodes, would like to see more What, Where, Why, would like to see Runes of Bloodborne, would like to see Saturday Night Snack Covenant, would like to see clips of Richie being a bully, would like to listen to SHT self-help topics, where can they find that?
They can find that at patreon.com/SinclairLaw, where there's like a lot. There's like hundreds of these.
Literally
There's
hundreds.
actually one of the things you're uploading is like our attempt to record something quickly, and you just start yelling at me. I've forgotten what it was even over. I like provoked you somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other day, you bullied me by teaching me about the Cold War, and
Yeah, I think that wasn't. I wasn't. They sound like I'm patronizing you. Like you asked me a question and I answered it.
but I didn't know the answer. I thought the answer was different, so I was not happy with your.
Yeah. So that's not me bullying you. That's just.
But then
you.
we didn't even end up recording it because we had to go, and I was like, well, next time. Yeah, so we still have to record the podcast about that time you bullied me about talking about the Cold War because I didn't know much about it because you're still the best love.
You lived through the Cold War in Russia.
Your face is Russia.
How do you not remember?
It's not that cold. Ba-dum-ts. Did you know that this glass, it doesn't look like it, but it could literally hold like half a bottle of wine? Like even more. Because of the way, like aerodynamics or whatever. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and tomorrow we're actually, unless Richie forgets again, unless Richie edits one more podcast and take a 200-hour nap, because oh my god, how many podcasts did I edit? How many things did I edit? How many things do I edit? I actually released something this morning on Patreon. How? I'm so underappreciated.
You are.
What was I saying? Oh, okay. So tomorrow, my evening, we're actually meeting with Al-Hazred and Cap and another person. Sorry, I forgot their name. And Richie and me. Oh, I keep hitting my cap. And we're gonna prepare to do a tabletop RPG of Vampire.
Yes.
Yeah, gonna be cool.
Okay. I found the exact Cold War bullying incident.
Uh-oh. Well, that's it for today.
I got Discord to do it, so you're over here. It was Sinclair Law, October 27th, 2020. Cold War was 50s/60s ? Richard Pilbeam. Yeah. Sinclair Law. How long did that shit last? Richard Pilbeam. Like post-war through to the end of the 80s. Sinclair Law. What? All question marks. All capitals.
Snap
Exclamation
packaging
mark.
ASMR when?
OMG, that's a long time. Richard Pilbeam, we're the same age and you're Russian. And then you just respond with an angry emoji.
Thank you, Richie. I feel like, okay, if you guys thought that Richie was bullying me, please leave a thumbs up. Also, Danny donated $10. That's like a tablerone. That's fancy. And saying snack packaging ASMR when. Actually, look, it's from that chocolate.
Yeah.
ASMR. Oh my god, I have so much ASMR. Okay, we're gonna do ASMR. Okay, Richie has to go, but before Richie go, we're gonna do ASMR.
Jesus Christ!
Yes?
That was really unbelievably loud. That was like... You know, deafen people with that.
That's what Danny asked for.
Danny asked for ASMR, not like... God.
Oh, I do ASMR.
This is ASMR. Alright?
No.
Yeah.
You can
It's
barely
more
hear
ASMR than that monstrosity. That was like feedback.
Thank you, Richie. Okay, and before you go, we'll play one last game. Okay. You have to guess what I'm holding in my hands by the sound it makes.
Is it Fallout merchandise?
No, that would be too obvious. What is this?
I can't hear anything.
Okay, look. Well, I don't know how to make it make sounds. I'm touching it.
Good! Good.
Okay, it's a bracelet. It's cute.
Thank you. I have actually, hang on. This isn't the only present I got you, so I'm not like spoiling it, because I got you other things. But
Aw.
I bought a bunch of little like food charms.
Oh my, are you for real? Look,
To
okay,
make you
look at what I'm
listen.
wearing. Wait, look at what necklace I'm wearing right now. One is a milkshake and one is a hamburger.
Oh, I get you so well. Yeah, I
Oh
bought
my
a bunch of
god.
food charms to make you a little food
You
bracelet.
know me so well. Besties. Yes, that's it for today. Oh, and before we leave, let's learn one Russian word.
Alright.
What word would you like to learn?
Hamburger.
Hamburger.
Really?
Yeah, it's just, instead of H, it's a G, so it's like Hamburger.
Gum. It sounds like a hamburger made of gammon. Disgusting.
Gourmand?
Gammon.
What's that?
Kind of horrible meat. Andre says BFF or bully friends forever.
Oh my god, bully friends forever! That's so cute!
Oh, Milk wants to know what bully is in Russian.
You want to know something interesting? The word bully is like a word I only learned in North America.
Mm-hmm. What did you yell at people in Russia then?
Okay, let's see. Bully in Russian. I don't know if we have the word bully.
Someone in Russia had the audacity to casually mention something you didn't know. What did you scream at them?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be like, capitalist! Get it?
Well, oh, hey, Adrian's here, but we're just wrapping up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
But that's an interesting thing.
It'll stay up, yeah,
For a time.
for a time.
For a time. Like, I don't want everyone to see us this way. Was there 4chans? I don't think so. But yeah, the word bully, like, you know how there's like a school bully? Like, I don't know if that, maybe, like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't know what's the word for that. So weird. Oh.
Hang on. I just realized I'm because everything's reversed. I'm not facing you. You're actually over here.
Yeah,
Hi.
hi.
Oh, hi.
I'm actually, like, Liberty Prime actually says, I think, like, Emperor Eternal, you know? it's not correct. I don't think.
Well, Mr. Fripperlips wants to know what you call someone who's mean.
Like I guess bad.
Yeah. Okay.
It would be like plahoy if it's a boy.
Right.
And
Right.
plahaya if it's a girl.
Uh-huh.
Or plahoye if it's like it's evil or something. Because there's three. It's like in German. There's three things in Russian. You know.
Yeah. Use gendered nouns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nouns and verbs too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently, Andre has put bully in Google Translate, and hooligan.
Yeah,
is
like
the
hooligan is not a bully. Hooligan is more like it's not a bully. It's like somebody who does, you know, I don't know, you ring at your neighbor's bell and run away, like stuff like that, like pranks or bad things. But it's not necessarily a bully.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. How do you say bully in Australian?
Yobbo. Oh no, well, Yobbo's more like a drunk person. A hoon is like a bully in a car. A hoon is like a hooligan in a car, and it's a noun and a verb. So it's like if you're like you can hear a bunch of people like racing outside the house, like a bunch of hoons are outside hooning. Mm.
That's
and
cool.
if they're drunk, they're a bunch of yobbos.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're causing a lot of mischief, they're a bunch of galah.
Galah.
A galah is a kind of parrot that congregates in large flocks and is very annoying.
Uh-huh.
So you're like, oh, there's a bunch of kids outside acting like a...
Richie can do an Australian accent so good.
Yeah, well, I do one all day, actually. You just don't consider it to be one because
I think half the people still think you're British, though. So
you think all Australians sound like Paul Hogan, and therefore I must be British.
Yeah. I'm not the only one. A lot of people still, to this day, sometimes I see a comment and it's like, oh my god, Rich is not British. So, I'm not the only one. Not the only ignorant one.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. I mean, I thought you were supposed to sound like the doll who's Ukrainian, so...
It's true.
We all make mistakes.
We all make mistakes.
Hmm.
You know what we should do? We should have Ebriatus on the podcast.
I'm okay with this because I don't have to be that character.
It's true. It's true.
I always remember the time you found out that it didn't actually strain my throat to do any of those stupid voices.
Oh my
Like,
god, I was so happy.
all the time though. I'm so happy.
I am because ironically, there's this one voice that's hard for you to do. No, there's one that's like it's not supposed to be hard. I think it was Simon. Was it Simon?
Oh yeah, Simon Seeker of Secret.
Yeah. I don't know why, because I'm like, this is like the least complicated voice, I think, because you go from like here to there, and it's like amazing. But yeah, I was happy to find out. Little Slug, hello! Does anybody have any questions about the little slug? To the little slug? Little Slug's right there. Cannot tell a lie.
Lade plays is Richie does characters, and it's like all those really like lovable people who show up on the podcast. A lot of them are actually, some of them are real, but a lot of them are actually just me doing.
Yeah, like the pirate is Richie. So again,
Yarr.
In Reborn, you know how we have a announcer who says like an American announcer who's like, I forget what he says. Like, here are the highlights. Again.
One take. I didn't listen to it back. I just did it once.
Yeah, and some people were like, wait, this is Richie? It's amazing. No, I think, like, without any sarcasm, without any of that bullshit, I think Richie is so talented. I can't. Look at that. Look at that. How did Richie do that? I can't. Yeah.
The problem with these characters is I largely came up with like the basis of the little slug is you were like, so do the phantasms actually talk to them?
Yeah.
Which led to like we pick up a slug and it's like, hello. I can't tell hello.
Oh.
We are the familiars of the great ones. Also, yes, this is a snail. I don't have any model slugs, unfortunately. They're all snails.
Just a technicality. Yeah. Alright, well, I guess that's it for today. Richie, do the outro.
That was Bloodborne AMA Part 2. We got all the patron questions and then some questions from the chat. So all good. All good. Excellent.
And thank you for coming, everyone. If I don't know why anybody would watch this again, but if you want to hear the little slug again, bookmark this because this will go on Patreon eventually. But if you bookmark it, you can watch it again because it'll be unlisted. And yeah. Okay. Armored Core 6, Bloodborne 2, Demon Souls 3, The Space Memories. That's beautiful. Thank you, Richie. Thank you,
Goodbye,
Richie.
everyone. Thank you, Sin.
And thanks, everyone, for listening. See y'all next time.